for Monday, July 2022 order. All please rise and remain standing for a memorial moment. The pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a memorial moment for George Colombo, passed away on Saturday, July 9th. George was the partner of Parks and Recreation Director Karen Schreiber and volunteered regularly at Township. For the record, was the executive session held by the board tonight. Discuss various personnel matters. We have no public presentations on the agenda for this evening. So I'll open up to the first portion, the time for residents, taxpayers, comments on matters concerning official action or deliberations, which may be before the Board of Commissioners. So please allow the residents to address the board and we'll respond accordingly. First sign in for this evening is Judy. Is that one? So.
I'd like to commend Joey and the police department for the fantastic program and job they did on scams for senior citizens. It was wonderful, and I wish everybody who was 65 plus would have come to that. It was well worth it. The other thing is, unfortunately, the 4th of July, I had to call the police department because on Columbia Avenue, with the back part that is to the alley that goes between the houses that are across the street from us, the people were setting off fireworks that were like what you see at ballpark, multiple bursts, and the ashes were going into the tree that is in the backyard of the house across the street from us and falling down on their roof, and they weren't home. So I called the police department and also told them that at the same time in the 700 block of Euclid Avenue, they were setting off fireworks in the middle of the street. Well, as the police car came down the street, fireworks went off in the middle of the street. They stopped, talked to them, came around the corner to go over on Columbia Avenue, and just as they made that turn, this huge burst came over again at the house. Not only did they go over there, they drove around a little bit and came back to double check. And on the way back, the second time to double check, it happened again. I don't know what happened after that, because then at that spot, there was absolutely nothing. They did a fantastic job of handling that. We do have a problem in our neighborhood though, with speeding when Euclid Avenue is getting a lot worse. There's kids who are coming down the middle of the street on skateboards. And of course, once they get around that bend of, at the end of the 600 block, when you're 700 block, it becomes very dangerous because two passing cars with cars parked along the side of the street can't make it. And we're getting a lot of tractor trailer traffic because the tractor trailers that are leaving from down at Fifth are coming up our street, and then they get up to the bend and they can't make it around the bend, then they back up, come down, and then they go out 7th Avenue. So there is a traffic problem, but especially with the speeding, it is getting unbelievable. The number of cars that are bottoming out at the little dip there, it's there's going to be a big accident someday. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
And we have paid attention to that location in the past. We'll do so again. The first thing I'll do is just put a note out to all the officers to make sure that they spend some time patrolling that area.
Thanks. Thank you, Judy. Next sign in is Matt Sinelli, 4416 4th Avenue.
Thank you, Mike. I'm here tonight. Actually, I don't like coming. I'd like to think that the tax money I spend is put to good use, and I'm putting the trust in everyone here in the spirit of goodwill. I've been here 12 years, paid about $60,000 in township and school tax, and maybe another 12,000 Muhlenberg Township authority fees. My question is, what is your plan to remediate stormwater along Darby Avenue in the South Temple section? I have seen that the 50-year flood events have happened 2 years in a row. I see some abandoned properties that are paved over, others that have opportunity for infiltration. But I'm kind of concerned because there are 3 to 5 feet of water in the street for 2 blocks, including about 10 feet up my driveway. It doesn't necessarily affect me other than the sewage backup, which occurred 2 years ago, and that I heard other people, not just on my block and on my street, but in other parts of South Temple. So is there a plan other than cleaning the leaves out of the existing storm grate, which clearly is not solving the problem? Is there a plan for the future in an affordable way that doesn't burden taxpayers, but that can make sure that property and the peaceful enjoyment of our neighborhood is protected?
Mr. Bowman, I know we're aware that's a floodplain.
It is a floodplain. To kind of address your concern in regards to what you perceive to be, and I don't know, but abandoned properties that are paved over and vacant properties that or undeveloped properties. Any new development that occurs, there are stormwater requirements that mandate that the water be kept on site and retain a certain percentage of any storm's rainfall. The biggest hurdle with what goes on down there at Darby and Fifth is the floodplain and is the flooding of the creek. And unfortunately, the catch basins that are there on Darby, they're set pretty low compared to the water level of the creek. They don't have very much drop before they're into the water of the creek. So when the creek level rises, of course, everything surges back up the catch basins and up and out of the catch basin. There may not be a solution to floodway flooding. And the frequency and the duration of the storms that are occurring, we've all seen, a handful of years ago, there were 3 or 4 100-year storms that came week after week after week. I think there were 3 in a row, and every single one of them was classified as a 100-year storm. The problem is the volume of water that drops in such a short period of time. There's no stormwater system anywhere that's designed to handle the flow. The flow, for example, that we had last summer was 7.5 inches, or was it more than that, in 2 hours worth of time. You can't even classify that into a storm. A storm is rated over a 24-hour period, not over a 2-hour period. So a 24-hour period with 7.5 inches of rain is probably a 100 or a 500-year flood if you got that 7 inches of rain in 24 hours, not 2. The biggest problem is the increase in the frequency of the storms.
I know that that's been happening, and the only thing I'll remind everyone is we've seen 1 or 2 feet that come into Darby Avenue, but it has never been that deep up for that since '72. I am not an expert in the statistics, but I do see that new properties like the Diamond Credit Union next to the township has a wonderful stormwater remediation basin. Jim Dietrich Park has a couple very large stormwater remediation basins, just like the one that could have been placed in the Sarah property. I wasn't aware that the creek was contributing to it. I had understood that it's a combination of the creek impeding the flow as well as all stormwater coming. According to the streets department, the building that was even above is down the road. But I guess I'd like to know that something is being done, and it doesn't need to be like Radnor Township is spending $5.5 million. I wouldn't expect that here, but if there's a low-cost way, I tell people if I win the lottery, I'll buy that swimming pool and I'll build a swale on the edge. Because, we've taken care of our property, we have insurance. I'm sure that other people do on our block. I personally feel that there must be some way that 5 feet of water in the street. That has not happened since 1970. So please take it under consideration about ways that you might think that would be suitable. Honestly, I would be willing to pay for it. There's no reason that taxpayers need to pay this. That would be very low.
Well, we have applied for several grants in the past to help fund different stormwater management projects. And we do have a very large one. It was, I think it was worth $350,000 or $375,000 to perform stream bank restoration projects downstream, still the Laurel Run Creek, but further downstream to help reduce the erosion and move the water more efficiently through that space.
In the last 5 or 10 years.
Last year, we applied for the funding. Yes,
Okay.
we haven't, it hasn't been awarded yet, no.
Yeah, I noticed that Hague Road had some very nice storm drains put in, as well as on River Road. So I'm not proposing a solution. I'm simply asking if there's anything that can be done. I don't understand why it's not.
I think the biggest takeaway, and not to push this on any longer, but the biggest takeaway is any redevelopment that occurs, whether it's commercial or residential property, is all required to meet stormwater criteria. So just because you don't see a stormwater pond in front of Diamond Credit Union doesn't mean that one wasn't installed underground. Doesn't mean that there weren't improvements that were installed at the site that you just can't see anymore. Our new public works building, the majority of the stormwater from that site is handled via underground retention basins. You can't see them. You wouldn't know they were there if, you know, even if we told you they were there, you can't physically see them. But any project that goes through that, you know, through that land development plan process is required to meet, you know, stormwater criteria. The sheets will be the same way when that process starts.
These are existing construction, the sheets and the parks.
No, these are, the sheets will be a new building, and the public works building was a new building as well.
Again, I don't want to question the but I do know that the engineering was done on the non-accredited plan. There were questions and they were not addressed. I don't want to say any more because I've been threatened with a lawsuit. I think those are called whistleblower lawsuits. I always like to think lawsuits are only to keep honest people honest. And whistleblower lawsuits keep the dishonest people honest. So fortunately, we have a system that addresses that. But most of all, I just think it's extreme. I understand that we're having more rain, but I don't think I can make that. It's more extreme than I've seen in 50 years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak under the agenda? Need a motion to approve the entire consent agenda? Questions or comments? The only comment I'll make is last month, and I don't see her here today, Diane Schulter came to talk about speeding on Park Avenue and 7th Avenue, and we did what we said we would do. We put a crash unit out, and out of the 4,732 cars that went by in 10 days, only 13 of them would have been enforceable violation for speeding. So we'll give that information to Mrs. Schulter at some point, so she's aware we did follow up on that. So we can present.
There's what the police provided us about that speed trap. So they are working on it. And we do, as requested here, Ms. Dalton done more. We step up and we're ready to do something good.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Any unfinished business? Seeing none, moving on to new business. I need a motion to approve the payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service. Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the Director of Finance to open 2 new accounts with PFM to invest the ARP funds and the township's cash reserves.
Move.
Second. Questions or comments?
Jim, can you explain that?
Yes, PFM, Principal Financial Management, handles all of the investments for our pension funds. And through PFM, we're able to open 2 new accounts, much higher interest-bearing accounts than what we currently have for those 2 lump sums.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to accept bids for the new salt shed, Emerald Construction and Erie Construction.
Second.
Questions or comments?
We're just accepting the bids tonight. There's still some question about whether or not the salt shed will fit at the Ready Crest brush collection site. So in order to preserve the competitive bids that we received, and they were competitive, I forwarded them to you as well. They were competitive. In order to preserve them, we'd have to make a decision in 90 days. By then, we should have an answer from Med-Ed regarding the transmission lines that exist at that site.
I was disappointed, didn't see anything.
Yep. No bid, and we,
So they're usually pretty good.
Thank you, Jim. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. In a motion to authorize the Public Works Superintendent to purchase a 2022 Chevy K2500 from Bob Fisher Chevrolet for use in the parks fleet in the amount of $49,609.47. This truck will replace the 2000 F-350, which will no longer pass inspection. Any questions or comments?
Is that ready to go?
A lot of use for that, 22 years.
Or, is that ready to go?
I squeeze it every ounce I
I'm
can.
glad to hear that.
yes,
Yeah.
ready to go on the
Yeah,
lot.
it's on the lot. It's been sitting there waiting for this meeting.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any motion to authorize the chief of police to send a conditional offer of employment to a candidate on the current civil service list?
Move.
Any quick comments on that, chief?
Now, you authorized the hiring of 1 last commission meeting, and that one is in the police academy right now. This gentleman has already completed the police academy, paid for himself to go, and so he'll be able to go right into our field training program, which will benefit us greatly.
Which gentleman?
One that got out of the academy?
One of the 3 you're going to hire?
Yes, yes. Jordan Chesnut.
I was pleased to see they're all from Berks County, sort of all locals and actually Muhlenberg kids.
Yes, the one that started the academy on last Monday, Braden Keller, graduate of Muhlenberg High, still a resident of Muhlenberg Township.
Are we up to our total now? Or are we still short?
We are up to our total right now,
Good. 32,
33.
33?
Don't steal any from them.
Thank you, chief. Any more questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the president of the board to sign a lease with the MTA to secure a portion of land to install a gateway sign.
Second.
Just for these 2 motions, I don't know if you were here at a prior meeting, they're outside, near the quarry, up a little bit where the benches are. We're installing a sign that will be used, not just a welcoming sign in the town, because the amount of traffic was 20,000 vehicles a day plus, but also for local community, library, folks do ads like we do out here. It's 0 cost to the township. We actually make revenue off of it. There's also no political stuff that can go on it, any ads for that nature, so it's 100% community based. And we're trying to get local businesses to advertise on it, but it should be a definite benefit to the community, so I think everyone will rejoice. So all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the president of the board to execute a lease agreement with Grayson Road Holdings LLC for the installation of the gateway sign.
Move. Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any motion to approve payment application number 8 to CMS LLC, the amount of $299,193.26.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
The tree's looking real good.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to reduce the letter of credit for the River Crest Phase 2 subdivision, the amount of $475,546.22.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to ratify a motion to close out the bond for Burks 222.
Second.
Jim, can you explain this, please?
Yes, Burks 222 is a project that splits, 75% of it's in the township behind the Walmart building. And they have completed all of the work associated with their subdivision and land development plan. With that, they will be required, at the onset of that project, they would have been required to post financial security to cover the cost of those improvements if they were unable to complete the project for whatever reason. They have completed all of the work. The work is satisfactory to all parties involved, the Conservation District, Muhlenberg Township, and now. The building is also, Steve Dunkel, 80+% occupied. There's
Correct.
2 buildings.
Building B is 80%. Building A will shortly be occupied with somebody taking that space as well.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any other new business? Public portion, if anyone wishes to speak under the public portion. Seeing none, we'll move on to the staff.
No comments at this time. Yeah.
Nothing this month.
Yeah.
If I could, we're awarding accommodation to some of our officers for some outstanding work. And they couldn't be here tonight, but I'd like to go over this accommodation. It was happened on May 27th. That 8 platoon members and our detectives responded to a call of theft in progress at one of our big box department stores. 3 offenders had stolen cash and gift cards from cash registers after surreptitiously obtaining the PIN numbers to open registers at unattended counters. They wore shirts similar to the employees to blend in with the sales associates so they wouldn't be immediately recognized behind the counters. The theft was similar to one that was committed in Exeter Township the previous day by other suspects. So the 3 fled the Muhlenberg store into a nearby neighborhood where they split up. 2 of them fleeing on foot, trying to hide amongst the houses and property, and another fled in the vehicle they arrived in. Our guys conducted a timely, coordinated search by our police officers that resulted in all 3 suspects being apprehended at 3 different locations and in such a manner that much evidence was discovered and seized. Further investigation revealed that these individuals, who are from the Flint, Michigan area, were part of an organized theft ring that committed similar crimes in multiple states. It's believed that this crew has stolen over $1 million from multiple stores. So this apprehension was an outstanding example of professionalism and teamwork amongst all the officers who responded and took action. And that is Officer Barry Marchett, Officer Chris Shear, Officer Connor Anner, Officer Mike Travis, Detective James Waits, Detective Sergeant Ramon Carollo, and Sergeant Randall Hoover. Did a great job. And one of the kind of ironic things is why 2 of them were in custody. One of them got a FaceTime call from someone. and the officers allowed him to take it. And here was the third suspect who was calling in. He's the one that had a vehicle. In the background, we could see the Taco Bell and the Lowe's store. So an officer quickly went down there and grabbed that suspect also. So that's a use of technology in our favor. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Also more. Ms. Romette?
Just a couple of items. One, we had drift jam this weekend. Thanks for all that came out. It rained and we ended up pulling the plug early. But it was a good float. We had a good experience there. We're working on a comprehensive plan now for the township. And so keep an eye out in the township magazine upcoming. We're gonna have a survey link where you can go and offer your opinion for the comprehensive plan survey. It'll be very important to get everybody's input. And we have a planning commission meeting Wednesday this week.
Thank you. All right. Commissioner Lawrence, your first time.
As always, thank you all for coming out. I know there's a threat of storms in the air, so it's nice to see everyone. Judy, thank you for pointing out the officers' good work with the fireworks. I know that has been an ongoing issue, not just for Muhlenberg, but for all communities in the Commonwealth. And I know Chief has stayed multiple times. You know, it's one of those things where they have to actually see people launching and in possession of doing all those things in person before they can take action. So it's nice to hear that they were there and then actually came back. I don't know, maybe the word was getting out a little bit all over the place. It sounded a little less noisy this year to me than it did in the past, but you know, hopefully now that it's back in front of the Commonwealth, maybe our leaders up in Harrisburg will finally get the hint and take some additional action. So thanks for pointing that out tonight. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, our school taxes went up again. Next year, we're gonna have to do something about it, folks. That's it. I'm done.
Commissioner Wolf.
I have a few things. Friday night concert series continues this weekend, and in the beginning, we were all shocked with the death of George Colombo. Really great guy, volunteered for us. There will be a celebration of life, I believe, at Pavilion 1 this Friday. Stop by and stay for the concerts, the John King Day. So it should be a very good entertainment. But we're very shocked and sorry for the family, for Karen. George was a really nice guy. The drift jam went really good. We had 25 people with kayaks, one of them being a hero over here who actually helped a lady who was having a seizure, not on one of our group, but in an inner tube. And they dove in with another fella, Eric Brown, and took it to the side of the river and 911 came. So, but we had a good time. Unfortunately, it rained and we probably lost a little bit of money in that one. But, it was a good time. We had a landlord seminar a week or so ago in the back room over here. Went very well. We had 15 landlords attend the first one. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. Steve, you were there. Any feedback from the people?
A little bit, just that it was a good time and very educational. And we got,
There are some
accomplished.
municipalities actually that make it mandatory for new landlords in the area to attend. And sometimes it's promoted by the police department. Because if a landlord takes care of the property, gets a proper tenant, maintains the tenant and any issues that are up because of the tenants, the police don't have to come out. Zoning doesn't have to come out. Codes doesn't have to come out. It saves everybody a lot of time. So that was my goal, to bring these landlords in and give them some ideas of how to get a good lease, how to do applications for tenants, what to look for, and maybe we'll keep it going next year. On the internet, I saw a lot of people complaining about door-to-door sales people. There was one individual just a couple of weeks ago who was, wouldn't take no for an answer. And I actually met him over at my neighbor's house in the back, where he actually sat down with the guy in the front porch and wouldn't leave. And then when I went over to him, I said, can I see your photo ID, the fact that you're registered to go door to door? And he said, well, I have it in my car. And then he ran away down the street. We have been doing it for how long, Joey?
5 years at least.
Yeah, the do not solicit list. You know, you can get your name on a do not solicit list. Whenever anybody comes in, it's legit. It gets a permit to go door to door. They get handed a list of people who don't want to be bothered. Now, there's certain organizations that will come knock on your door, some religious organizations, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, they're exempt. But if anybody comes to your door trying to sell something and you're on the list, you're no, they're not legal. So you can get on the web, Muhlenberg Township, do not solicit list, fill it out, send it in. Anything else that you see?
Nope, that's it. Then they'll be put on the list. The police maintain that and it's given to the solicitor. And a sticker, yeah.
That's all.
Commissioner Lupia.
Yes, I happened upon a letter. Take one and pass it down if you want, please, but.
Should I take the one with my name on it?
Yes. All right. So, due to major life events, work commitments, and a recent relocation, I will no longer possess the needed time to dedicate to the position of commissioner. It's therefore with deep regret that I hereby resign from my position effective immediately. I wanted to extend a sincere thanks to my fellow board commissioners for assisting me in learning this position, showing me the different points of view on various, oftentimes difficult issues, and for helping me grow as a leader. And further, wanted to extend a deep thank you to the excellent staff that keeps this growing township functioning and flourishing. I wanted to thank my family for understanding and supporting me with the time commitments that come along with this position. And then finally, I wanted to thank the taxpayers of Muhlenberg Township that have graciously allowed me to serve them over the past 6 years. I feel I'll be in Muhlenberg in a better place than when I came on board, and hopefully that trend continues after I'm gone. So I wanted to thank you guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Lupia, and we all wish you the best of luck and appreciate everything and your time commitment. You know, it's only like 30 seconds a week, right, to do this.
So, yeah.
Right, yeah, that's what they all tell you, right? But no, seriously, on behalf of the entire board. Also, you know, everyone doesn't realize how much time it really is, but we do have a place for retiring commissioners, and Jim will work the plaque down at Jim Dietrich.
Are you serious?
Bench, yeah. We have there, I think, Commissioner Finks, you know, there.
No, I believe Vicky Brown is there.
I think he's-
For you.
But yes, we will make that process happen, so you'll be remembered forever in your years of service to the community. So it is down there, so I just wanted to know that. Let's get thanks again. Thank you. Few comments, well, going through this before with resignation, so I told Mike I had to get my first West Township book out, but it's from 2003, so if I say anything incorrect.
I don't think that's changed.
But when we have a vacancy on the board, what we do, and Joey and Jim are already be prepared, is we'll submit applications 100% electronically. There's questions that will be asked for the board to evaluate those questions for residents. I believe you have to be a resident for at least 1 year in the township to be considered. So those resumes will be forwarded to the 4 remaining commissioners along with our township manager and assistant township manager for review. And at that time, the board will entertain motions to call certain people that they deem with fit qualifications to fill out the remaining time for Commissioner to repeat his term. So that's how the process will work. I'm sure they'll have it up as soon as possible, because we do by the first day of township code, I believe, 30 days before we go to the court of common pleas. And if there be a split decision, it does go to a vacancy board, and the board with the process. But that's how it works. If the board doesn't come to agreement, there's a vacancy board that happens, and they decide, so it's a number. So thank you again, Commissioner Levine, for all your service. So that's how the process will work. Sure.
It's gonna be daddy food, yes.
Just 2 quick other things I thought I mentioned publicly. Just first of all, not only do we lose a great person here that volunteered for Muhlenberg Township, but the loss of Barry Gorman for Burke's Crime Alert was a tremendous loss to our community. I served on the Crime Alert board, and continue to serve on it for longer than I'd like to say probably, but when Barry Gorman called, you answered and you did what he told you to do, basically. He was a great advocate for law enforcement. I know Chief of Law Enforcement community back there. He's so dedicated to everything, just a great guy. I had the luxury of going to Washington DC with him when Barry to the White House for an event, talking about local government, but he's just a tremendous man. So that's a tremendous loss to the community. Hopefully, we'll have someone step up in his place to carry the churches. So great loss to our community. Speaking of loss to our community, we've all seen the newspaper with this one over here who's accepted a job at the city of Reading. So it's not official yet, so we're not going to really go through any whole song and dance for him until city council convenes. So, but I'm sure Chief Pine came in and really did a tremendous job with our police department getting to where it is today. And what he just described is a tribute to his leadership. So he's just not a great police officer, he's a great leader. So the comments of the chief, we'll see. We'll maybe come back. Thank you. But thank you all for coming out. Hopefully we'll get into smart, and we'll see you next month.